Hello, welcome to my channel. In this video I'm going to show you how to connect an RSPdx SDR, software defined radio receiver, to a virtual machine running on a Proxmox host. And this is not as straightforward as you would hope, because the RSPdx uses a USB interface which is not quite the same as the other ones I've ever used. All my other SDR receivers and dongles, just you can use the GUI on Proxmox to pass support through. Here's the GUI. You just add a hardware device of type USB and choose the one you want, and that's it. Unfortunately, for me anyway, that doesn't work. And I've been fiddling with this for a while, and now I've worked out how to do it, so I thought I'd show you. And then having ported through or passed through the USB port to the virtual machine, then I'll show you how to install the necessary drivers for this device. So I've got on my Proxmox server, VM107, I've called it RSPdx. It's just a Ubuntu desktop that's running. Later on I'll install SDR++ on it, but that'll be a different video. So here, this is the Ubuntu desktop, which I've SSH'd into using the terminal on my client machine here. And if you type lsusb, you see there's just a USB hub that's built in to the virtual machine, and this SDR has not been passed through yet. And if you go onto the shell, the root shell of the Proxmox host, so then here, when you type lsusb, you see all of these different devices that are present. Some of them are plugged into USB ports, some of them aren't. I've got a DigiRig plugged in, and I've got this SDRplay device, that's this one, plugged in, so it's present. Thing that's important to note is this. This is the, also these numbers too, but this is like the hardware address. This is the manufacturer and the device ID for that SDR receiver. We're going to need these as well. Actually we don't need those yet. We'll need those inside here once it's been passed through. And what else have I got plugged in? Probably RTL SDR. It's also plugged into this device. So the server is streaming various different SDR receivers into my network, and then I can look at them using programs like SDR++ or OpenWebRx+. Anyway, so how to do this, and I told you what I'm trying to do. So I've got this Ubuntu 22 desktop here because I happen to have it lying around on my server, and we have to list the ports on the Proxmox shell. That's this one down here, and you can see I've already got the numbers I need for that SDRplay device. So what you have to do is you have to edit this file and add in, let's take that hash away, otherwise it gives away how I found out how to do this. And you add in this line here. So first of all, let's use nano to edit this configuration file for virtual machine number 107. Of course yours might be different depending on the number your server's given to it. So I just do Control-C, put that into the right window, which is this one. So this is the configuration file for virtual machine number 107. You can see that it's given a CPU, some RAM, some storage, and there should be nothing about USB devices in here if I take a look. No, good. So what I'm going to do is go down to the bottom of the file, there, to that blank line, and I'm going to add in this line, which says to add in that host ID that I showed you a moment ago, and set USB 3 to on in case it defaults to USB 2, because you need bandwidth with SDR devices, especially this one. It has a 10 megahertz bandwidth, so you need to use USB 3, so that has to be turned on. So let's do Control-C, copy that, put it in here with Control-Shift-V. Let's have another new line. So that's it, added to the config file. So now we do Control-X to exit, save it, yes. That's written, but nothing will have changed in this virtual machine yet. What I have to do is I have to actually you have to stop and start it again for this to be passed through. That's interesting. Let's maybe do that first, or maybe not. Now I'm wondering. You have to do these things in the right sequence, because the config from here is only read in when you stop and start the virtual machine. So that's quite important. I'm just wondering if I could actually, let's do this anyway, disable the auto-suspend of USB devices, because sometimes Ubuntu just shuts off a USB device because it thinks it's not being used. So let's turn that off anyway. So Control C here, Control Shift V, password, because it's a system file. So here we have the grub configuration file, and I need to change a line, grub command line Linux default. So where's that? Let's have a look over here. Grub command line Linux default equals quiet splash, which is not something you do in the swimming pool. So now it has to say quiet splash and then a space and this bit on the end. Turn off the auto suspend and then close bracket. So let's do that. Control C and add it after the word splash. Let's see if this is going to work. A lot of clicking here. Actually the space is already there, isn't it? So let's do Control Shift V. Okay, so now we've got grub command line Linux default equals quiet splash USB core auto suspend equals -1. Quiet splash USB core.auto suspend equals -1. You have to watch the spaces as well. That looks like it's correct. So let's do Control X and yes to save it. We have to update the grub config on this virtual machine. So Control C, Control Shift V. Okay. No nasty errors there. Okay, so now let's reboot it, but I'm not going to reboot it. I'm going to shut it down and start it up again. So let's do shutdown. Now, and that's shutting down. And then if we look at the control panel for Proxmox, VM.107 is indeed shut down. I'm just going to push the button. It's quicker than typing in a command to start it up. Feeling lazy. So that's working, hopefully. In fact, if we look at this VM107, look at the hardware, now you see there's a USB device been added because I put it in the config file with that address. So that's exactly what I wanted to see. Good, that's worked. So now, oh, the window will have closed for the virtual machine because I shut it down, not rebooted. So I need my console back. Click on here. This is a Spice console for that virtual machine. And let's make it. So let's log in. Like that, and all I have to do is bring up the command line terminal here, and let's make this the same size as this again. I should be using an automated system for this, shouldn't I? Let's make that full screen, and let's make that a bit bigger. Try and get the text the same size in all the boxes. It's a new game. I think that's the same as that, so that you can see it. And now you see we've got bus 2, device 2, that ID, which is the same as the one that's down here, hopefully. Yep, it's the same, SDRplay RSPdx. So that device has been passed through to the virtual machine in such a way that it is actually usable, which is, it took me a while to work out how to do this because it wasn't working before. So that has been done. And here's lsusb, and shows it's connected. And it's actually bus 002, device 002, isn't it? Okay, let's just update my notes correspondingly. Then we have to make that into a 2 as well. Was that 3 before? Oh, yeah, it must have been. So we have to change the access rights, the permissions to this device, like that. So now it has the correct permissions, hopefully. That's a 2, not a 3. So, oops. Oh dear, what am I doing? Try clicking in the right place. 2. So let's just look at that device and show its permissions to make sure that's correct. And what have we got? CRW, RW, RW, and that's what it should be. Okay, so now it's got the correct permissions. And the next thing to do, having done that, is to install the API for the SDRplay device, the RSPdx. This is not open source, it's closed source, and if you download it from their website, you need to check the buttons, say that you agree to the license terms and so on. It doesn't ask you to do that but when you download it this way, but of course I do agree. So, and I'm not going to sell it to somebody else. So go into the temp directory on this virtual machine, and then we're going to copy this. Let's hope it's still there. I did check because the version number could have changed. That's downloaded. Very good. And it still has the same file name, so that's nice. Which means that I can use this, because we need to change the permissions on that file to make it executable. If we just look at it with this command, Oh, that's interesting. Why does it say that? Let's try ls then. Snap. Oh, I don't like snap. Oh, that's because, oh yeah, okay, we won't bother trying to look at that. What I'm going to do is to change the permissions. So on here, let's copy the command to change the permissions to make it executable, which I'm sure it now is, even though I can't see it because of the snap stuff. And then you have to run their program that has been downloaded. Control-Shift-C, Control-Shift-V, so it's going to run. Oh, you do see the license agreement. So you have to go all the way through to the bottom to prove that you read it like that. Press Y to return to accept the license agreement. So let's do that. So it does make you do it. Continue the installation of these defaults, press Y and return. Yeah, let's use the defaults because that usually works. So the API is now installed for the SDR device. Now we have to reboot. Okay. So this time, hopefully, my Spice terminal will not go away, and you can watch me rebooting on the server. And then we have to install the soapy utils for this device, and these need to be compiled. So I need to install the C++ compiler and everything that goes with that. So I could have put that all in one line. Maybe next time. Let's just log in here again. I probably have to resize it again. Yeah, the nice thing about the Spice terminal is when you resize a Spice window like this, it tells the virtual machine to resize to fit the window, which is, I think, really neat. Anyway, that's just me. So let's make the text bigger. I think it's like that. That was 3 clicks. So let's do this, install these tools, which I forgot to copy. So let's copy these. Paste them in there. Yes. Oh, 218 megabytes. That's a bit bigger. And then those are the build tools, the compiler for C++. This is the soapy SDR tools and utils. So let's copy that. Control C. Put it in here. Yes. And then we're going to have to change into the temporary directory and then use this git clone to get the software. So Control C. So we're in that temporary directory, or TMP, it's not temporary. Let's use git. Hopefully, yes, that's been installed here, because you may not have git on your machine, depending. So let's git clone, and there it is. Didn't take long, did it? It's downloaded. So now it will have created this directory and put the software in there. So let's change into that directory, which we are. Now I'm going to type ls. Show me the files. Oh yes, that's nice. So now we're going to make a directory to do the building in and change into it. Control C, Control Shift V as a subdirectory of this. Yeah, that's there. And then I'm going to do this all in one go because I'm feeling brave. Let's do all of that in one go. Control Shift V. So now it's going to build and compile. That was a little bit too quick. We can check it anyway using this command from the soapy SDR util set to probe for the driver for the SDRplay device and see what it says. And I'm used to compiling longer C++ programs. Maybe that's why I thought it was too quick. What have we got? Device, driver, identification. It looks pretty good. It looks like it's found it. Yeah, it's all there. So that appears to have worked. I was just being pessimistic about how long it would take. Okay, so it's worked. The other thing we can do is check to see if it's been installed as a service, so that after a reboot it will still be running. And it looks like, yes, service is enabled. That means after a reboot it will start it and it's active and running. So it looks like that is it. I've installed the RSPdx device on a virtual machine running on a Proxmox server, and it looks like it's going to work. So in another video I'm going to install SDR++. In case you haven't seen it, it looks like this. Let me just press play so it starts. This is SDR++, and this will be able to access that virtual machine through the internet. And I'm going to set up SDR++ as a server on the virtual machine where the SDR is plugged in, and then on a client install the program. And here you can maybe just read, it says SDR++ server. That's the source I'm connected to. So it's connected through my local area network to the server part of this program. So you can use this either as a server or as a client, and it will stream then over my network. So there's a lower sideband station on 40 meters. Seems to work. Not sure I have desktop audio switched on for that, but you probably heard it. So that's what the next or another video will be about, how to set this up on that virtual machine. So thank you for watching. If you have any questions or comments, then I'd be happy to read them and answer if I can. And I look forward to seeing you in the next video.